Now, Yasmin, just so you know, okay, the vote just being called at this moment, my producer Kyle Stewart confirming that 366 to 34 with one voting present is the final total number. You have 196 Democrats that voted for it. Not one voted against it, though one did vote present. And you have 34 Republicans who voted against it. That's 4 less than it was yesterday when 38 Republicans voted against a version of this bill that did have the debt limit hike attached to it. You could see Democrats really making sure that this bill had passed and got over the finish line. You can't see it, but there's a lot of reporters standing to my right. They are all waiting for House Speaker Mike Johnson to address reporters now that the gavel has closed. Again, this was a monumental moment for Johnson to get this over the finish line with Trump and apparently Elon Musk's blessing. But the road for him ahead is just beginning. And of course, it looks windy as he had to make a lot of trades and deals to make this happen and get this across the finish line. 2 weeks from now, there will be a vote to elect the new speaker officially on the floor. Of course, Speaker Johnson got the confidence of his members behind closed doors. We'll see how what happened over the last 36 hours has changed things.
A couple questions I have for you throughout this entire process. I'm wondering if any Republicans have been vocal with you, Julie, about the involvement of Elon Musk, the way in which he's kind of had a heavy hand in this entire process, not necessarily being an elected official, instead kind of being what seems to be an advisor to President-elect Donald Trump. I know what we hear from Democrats, but have any Republicans talked to you about that?
Well, certainly there are questions and consternations when anybody gets involved who is not a member of the legislative body. Earlier today, we heard from one House Republican, for example. I'm just keeping a close eye to make sure we don't miss the speaker behind me, so forgive me. But we did hear from one House Republican, for example, who kind of scoffed at the idea that Elon Musk is running the show or that he even knows how to legislate, because, of course, running a business is very different than having to confer and negotiate with 535 members of the House and the Senate. And it is a very different process. And so I do think certainly Republicans and Democrats are feeling like they don't want him to have such an outsized role in the government. They are, of course, aware that he is somebody who has the ear of the president-elect, of somebody they do not want to disappoint and anger throughout all of this. But as we've heard all day long today, they still believe that it is Trump who had the final seal on this and that 11th hour demand of lifting or getting rid of the debt ceiling entirely. So for all counts and purposes, they know that this is a long 4 years ahead of them, and they're not going to start to ruffle feathers today.
We've been watching, President-elect Trump's social media. Every day he's been kind of putting posts out there, whether it's in support or against the deal that was pending and about to happen. He has been kind of more quiet today about this. Do we have any understanding from the Hill as to why he hasn't gotten more involved in today's process? Does it have anything to do with the fact that we are so close to a feasible government shutdown, obviously just a month before he's going to be inaugurated as president of the United States?
Yeah, I think based on our conversations with Republicans on the Hill, based on our Garrett Haig's conversation with the president-elect yesterday, he's very intentional about when he does weigh in. And I think at this point, he doesn't want to weigh in something that he's going to face a loss in. And right now, he pretty much took a bill that was over 1,500 pages and dwindled it down to 1/10 of the size. And so I think he can notch that as a win. The fact that they took all of these extraneous matters out of the bill, whether you liked it or not, they are not in it now. And right now, you do, by all accounts, have a clean government funding extension, that disaster relief, that farm money. Yeah, he didn't get that debt suspension, limit suspension that he wanted as part of this package, but it was very clear that Republicans were not going to put up the votes for him to do so. And again, Elon Musk, according to Johnson, and as he posted on X, said that Johnson did a good job under the circumstances here.
So I'm going to kind of put your reading skills to the test, because you said, right, this is a big bill. It's not that big or as big as it originally was, but I know you kind of ticked through some of it. If you can, and you mentioned it a little bit earlier, but I think it's important for folks that are watching at home, right, what is actually in this thing and what isn't in this thing?
I think it's important to talk about what didn't make it in this bill. And remember, Congress doesn't function the way it's supposed to. Things are supposed to move through regular order. You're supposed to have committees involved, a committee process by which members can make their voices heard, maybe an amendment process on the floor. This isn't a new thing. This is not a 118th Congress problem. This was happening during the first Trump administration as well, of course, during Biden's term too. And so now you get to the end of the year, and typically what happens around here is you have one last-ditch effort to get all of these items in a big package, and that is what you saw happen with this bill, where members don't have time to read it. If one person adds one thing, then you have another member who wants to add a completely different provision, and it turns into what many people around here were calling a Christmas tree full of extraneous ornaments. But there are some important provisions that Democrats are frustrated that didn't make it in the bill. Funding pediatric cancer, for example. We saw the Speaker's office retaliate and say, well, Chuck Schumer could have put it on the floor in the Senate this entire year. But again, goes back to our regular order argument, right? You had outbound investments to China. There were some restrictions placed on that. That was taken out of the bill. So you do have provisions that are not included in here that were very important to members of Congress and their constituents back home. But again, this is what happens when you need to make a deal, especially right before the holiday.
I know you're waiting for Mike Johnson. I got one more for you, Julie, and then I'm going to let you go, which is the Senate. Why is this still, and you mentioned it earlier, I know, but why is this still a big question mark? You'd expect they'd want to get to the floor, they'd want to vote on this thing, and then get the heck out of Washington.
Yeah, we are out of the prediction business here, especially with what we've seen over the last couple of days. And so the vibes, so to speak, are good on the other side of the Capitol. I spoke to Senator Ron Johnson, for example, who told me he doesn't believe there will be any Republicans on his side of the aisle that want to slow things down even further. But again, the way the Senate works is different than the House. You have to have an agreement from all 100 senators to speed through any procedural hurdles that they would typically need to go through to pass a bill like this. Nobody wants a government shutdown. But again, we have not had official word yet from Leader Schumer or from the whip, the vote counter on the Democratic side in the upper chamber, if they will put this on the vote on the floor, when they will put this on the floor. The fact that pretty much no Democrats voted against this bill, that is a good sign for the Senate and for Democratic leadership there to say, you know what, we're just going to put this on the floor and get it over with.
It's honestly incredible. If you look at the numbers, no Democrats voted against this thing, and it was, in fact, Republicans that voted against the bill that was put up by their own party. Julie Sirkin, for now, go get them. Appreciate it, my friend. Thank you.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.